Well, hi there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to 3R Guitars. This is going to be a brand new build. I've built one of these before. It's a 1959 Les Paul Special, and it proved to be pretty popular. And when I built the previous one, there was a bit of a mistake in it. Not really anything serious, but it just wasn't quite right. What was basically wrong was the pickups were fractionally low. I mean, I designed it around a center line sort of thing, and one of the problems was that I built the templates from a guitar, an original 59 special, that had been completely butchered and needed an awful lot of work. Anyway, I don't know whether my error was a mistake or just probably like a few compounded dimensions that were slightly wrong. So although the guitar turned out fine, there was no problems with it, but what flagged it up to me a little bit was that the 59 I was copying had obviously had a lot of work done to it. I mean, even the body was a bit thinner than it should have been, but it was all there, and it was one of the ones with a very rolled edge, which is really nice, I think. But I did get an original pickguard for it, and on that one that I built, when I was actually putting the pickguard on, I thought, no, it's actually a bit close to the body edge, where especially it was almost exaggerated a little bit because the body had such a curve on it. When I went back and re-measured, it was probably the pickups were 1/8 of an inch too low or something like that. So I did a bit more research, and basically I know this is correct. So I did a bit more research, and I've built 3 new templates for it now. So what I've got is basically, I've got the neck, and I always do my templates full size. I mean, this is freshly cut. I mean, I could use the outline of the old templates, which have been destined to the bin, so it's quite quick to make. I just had to move around things a little bit. So we've got the basic neck routing template here, and I always leave this bit a bit longer than the body so that the router doesn't tend to tip. Then we've got the template for the inside of the control cavity, and then the T sections for the P90, so you can stack that on top full size again, and that's fine. And then we've got like basically the cover, excuse the hairy bits there, I haven't sent them down there, but the cover recess on the back of the guitar, and then the P90s. So then that stacks on top of there, and you can see now how well everything fits. Making templates is something I love doing, and when you get them right, it just makes the whole thing a doddle, I mean, rather than measuring everything. But you can see, you can basically just stack these templates, and everything is perfect. And the neck on these uses the same, or the fretboard, the neck. It's got a slightly different neck tenon because it's full width, and that plugs nicely in there. So it's a bit tight there because it's obviously tapered a little bit, but so we've got the whole thing there, which is really nice. So yeah, no problems at all. So I'm much, you know, I'm really happy with these templates. Now I have started. I've got a nice lightweight chunk. It doesn't feel lightweight at the moment, but I've got a nice lightweight chunk of Honduran mahogany, and I've already screwed this on the top and whizzed round it with a bandsaw and with a bearing guided router. You've seen me doing that 50 times before. So we've got the shape of the special now, double cut obviously. So what I want to do now is get it down to the right thickness. Now the problem I have, my planer over here won't go anywhere near the width required to do a one-piece body. So I'll show you how I'm going to do it, which is, you know, fairly simple. Let me take you over to my routing station. So here we go. We've got the overhead router here. I've got a 1/2 inch cutter in it, so it's and this router table, I replaced the top of it recently, so I know it's absolutely flat. So basically what I can do now is just pass this underneath and go down till I reach the right thickness. I mean, it's obviously a bit more of a ball ache of a job than you know, passing it through a planer, but you know, needs must. So there we go, pretty easy. This actually is slightly wedge shaped for some reason, this, but just to show you, let's give it a quick pass now. No, not that one. So anyway, you know, you get the picture of exactly what I'm doing there. Basically, you know, I'm just using this as a planer really, just to plane down to the right thickness. But like I say, this is slightly wedge shaped, this bit of wood, and there's a bit of damage on the top here. So I've got to take this down. I think the original thickness of the one I did was actually, I took some notes here from it. I did some very basic plans. It measured at 43 millimeters. Now, I checked. I had a Les Paul Junior that I checked that varied from 45.1 to 45.5, and so I think anything really around 45 millimeters is probably correct. I think they're 1 3/4 inches. So. Let's have a look. If I put my doo-wop, a bit of relic in. If I put my doo-wop on 1 3/4 inches, let's change this to inches. Inches, 1 3/4. 1.75 inches. Right, let's see what that is in millimeters. That's 44.45. So I guess that's about. I mean, I seem to remember that anyway from Les Paul thicknesses are all. So you know, we want to get down to about 40, well, like 44.5 millimeters, which is absolutely fine. And you think, you know, there's a bit of lacquer on that and stuff, so I'll just carry on and get this done anyway. Right, hi there guys. Woof, that's quite a gutty job, like thinning the body down this way, to be honest. I mean, it gets it done nice and accurate. Here it is now. You know, we're actually 44.5. Yeah. Squash it on there, 44.6 well, something like 44.6 millimeters, and it's nice and accurate all round, so you know, no problem with the accuracy on it. It just takes a lot of time to do. And of course with this homemade thing, I mean, you know, if I push on it I can wobble it, so I don't want to take big cuts, and believe me, like, you know, a 2 mil cut is plenty, otherwise you know, you start just basically like you know, it's hard work, then you've got to push and stuff, and you really don't want to do that. So it just takes time. But my advice would be, you know, if you're buying a body blank from any good, like Luthier's wood supplier, they will finish it to the right thickness for you, and they know this sort of thing by heart. You'll get a piece of wood 44.5 millimeters thick from them, and it will be almost ready to put the finish on, sort of thing. So that would be the way to go. Unfortunately, I kind of inherited my wood as a job lot, and it's beautiful wood. I mean, this is already, you know, really light, and it's a lovely piece of wood. You know, I've got the wood already, so I know I can't thin it down unless I actually bought a planer that was, you know, over a foot wide, sort of thing, that I could put the bodies through. But I haven't really got the space for that in here, and for the amount of guitars I make, you know, like 3/4 of an hour with this, and I can thin it down to something that's dead right. And now I've made this table out of a 38mm thick old kitchen top. It's dead stable, so you know, I've got no risk of you know, this thing warping or anything. It's well braced underneath, so we're all good. So that's that done. So I think a quick sanding on top, finishing off, and that'll do that. Lovely. Well, hi there, welcome back to 3R Guitars. Right, we were doing this body. I've basically, you know, got it the right thickness and sanded the top now, so it looks nice, so you can see it all comes up well. I've started doing the pickup routes as well, and I've shown this before, my overhead pin router. So basically, just to recap, the templates go on the back. Okay, there's a 1/4 inch cutter in here in the router, and directly under that cutter, at pinpoint accuracy, as close as I can get it, there's a 1/4 inch pin. So when you drop the templates on the back of the guitar, so when you drop the template on, screw the template onto the body, it goes on the back of the body, or the opposite side to where the cut is, and it goes over that pin, so you can only move it around that pin. I mean, if I put this underneath here now, there's the pin there, you go over the pin, right, that's in the pickup cavity now, and you can only move it in the confines of that pickup cavity. So, you know, lower the cutter down and cut away, and you get a perfect pickup cavity. There we go, absolutely spot on. Now, the advantage of this, which I've again gone through before, if you want to route pickup cavities, you really need, you know, you can't use a 1/2 inch router with a bearing on it, you know, something like that. You can't use that because it's too big a diameter for the corners. Well, these, you know, the corners of the pickup cavity, they're smaller than 1/2 inch. If you put that in there, it wouldn't cut that. It would be too, it wouldn't be sharp enough a cut. So you need a 1/4 inch cutter. Now, if you buy 1/4 inch cutters with bearings on them, they're very expensive and they're very fragile. You don't get a lot of use out of them. So if you do it, I mean, go back and look at my other things, and also when you do, you know, when you use these router cutters, say you think, oh yeah, I've got a 1/2 inch cutter with a bearing at the top, so when you want to cut, basically, you know, you have to have that bearing on. If you had this on the top of the work and you had that bearing on the, you know, on the template, which you'd need to have, you'd have to at least cut, that would be your first cut, which would be something like blooming 1/2 inch cut, which you'd be really grunching away at it. So you need 2 bearing guided cutters, one short one and one long one if you want to do deep. And like it just gets devilishly expensive. I mean, here's a, you know, here's the brother to this cutter with a short one, so you could actually, you know, cut down to that depth with this, and then you can't go any further realistically, you know, and then you need a longer cutter, and it just gets very expensive. Bearing guided cutters are expensive. I mean, for the price of those 2 bearing guided cutters, you can get a slack handful of these just plain shank 1/4 inch cutters. So the bearing, the pin router is an absolute godsend, and this thing I've made here is a very rudimentary one, but there we go. So let's just do the back pickup now. I mean, there we go, we're on the pin now. I've actually drawn it on the top of the body, so you know, I can do a test run, lower the cutter down, see where it comes to, make sure it, you know, I can see it's following the outline there. That's fine. The only thing you really want to be careful of, that can be a bit of a pain, is you really want to make sure that all the mess is cleaned off your bench, so you can slide the workpiece around. But let's just take an initial cut and I'll show you. Put that on there, take the cutter down. Right, we're nearly on the top of the wood there. Right, let's go. Let me just stop there to show you. There we go, so there's the start of that cut now. So you can see how nice that is. You're not changing cutters or anything like that, you're just using the same cutter, so the accuracy tends to be there. So let's just carry on. I've got to cut that to 6mm depth, 1/4 inch depth. I might go a bit deeper, 6.36, so, you know, wind it down to roughly in the right place. Right, let's see how deep that is. Don't think we're deep enough yet. Nope, not quite deep enough yet. I'll get back to you when I've done it, but you can see, you know, how nicely that is going. So, yep, chocks away. Right, here we go. I've done the outside cavities very neatly for the pickups. Now I'm going to do the deeper cavities, the T ones. So I've got this template screwed on the back, and this is the advantage now of full-size templates, being able to line them up exactly, you know, with the edge of the body and things like that. So, you know, when you stack your templates on top of one another to test them, you can actually like just, you know, check the perfect fit of them. I mean, what was one thing you could actually do when you do one of these guitar bodies is you've cut these templates, you've cut these pickup routes, you could just literally screw this template on the bottom of the other one while it's on the bottom of here, sort of thing. Don't even take it off, and then how everything lines up because of your your two templates on there. So that would be quite easy. That's very easy to do as well, but I haven't really got the depth on this. If I had this set higher, which is a bit of a pain if I don't do so, I'll just replace the template. So you can go on there now and check, lower the cutter and just check that it lines up properly. You're not going to chew away the side of your hole there or anything. So let's just cut this. Now, one thing to be careful of here is when you're doing these T's, if you've got a symmetrical guitar, I mean, this is not symmetrical, but if you've got a symmetrical guitar, then it's very easy to put the template on upside down, and you'll start doing a left-handed one. But here we go, let's give it a go. Right, so here we go. I've got a few. Just to get the chisel. I've not routed out thoroughly here, so let's knock out these little nibs in here that haven't come out. Right, there we go. Now we're starting to get the T cut in there, and you can see how good it looks because a typical like Gibson, you've got the edge around there. You can just see a little bit of edge, so we can carry on cutting that down now. And like the other thing, with this pin router is you don't risk damaging your templates or anything, which is really nice because they're only following a pin. They're not following a bearing that could potentially seize up and be doing 5,000 RPM sort of thing. How deep have we got to go with this? Neck. 21 millimeters down, about 7 more mil. So I'll get back to you when I've done that. You don't want to keep me seen doing this. Well, here we go. How simple was that, and how neat do they look with just this router thing rather than using bearing guided routers. It's so quick and easy as long as you get your templates perfect. And the nice bit is you can see how well it replicates how Gibson did it, because you've got little ledges in places and all that. So that is just really, really classy. That, I think that looks really nice. And you've got a perfect fit of these now, beautifully fit in there. It's just lovely. So we've done that. It's nice and easy. Next bit is probably the neck socket, and this is actually an early 59 one. Like I say, it had the much rounder edges, which I'll be putting on because I really like that. And what I also like as well, although it's a bit detrimental, is in the later ones the neck pickup was moved a bit further back because of a weak neck joint. But I mean, yeah, okay, I'll admit it's a weak neck joint, but kind of everybody knows that now. So I mean, these guitars have now gone from being like your cheap player if you couldn't afford a Les Paul standard, and like, oh yeah, and knocked around and knocked fuck. But nowadays, you know, people are going to take care of these a lot more than they used to. So I think the neck joint is absolutely fine, to be honest. I've got no complaints with it at all. So there we go, good stuff. So I think we'll do, I mean, we could do the control cavity next, but that's a bit gutty, you know. We've got the right template on, to be honest. So, you know, I could just work on that, but I think I'll hog some of that out with a Frosner bit rather than using a 1/4 inch router cutter sort of thing. It'd be a bit painful. So there we go, jolly good, thank you. Well, with this Les Paul special now, I really wasn't expecting to get this far today. I mean, I had a square lump of wood to start with this morning, and now I've got the body. We've routed out the control cavity in the back. I just did that, and it's just so quick if you've got accurate templates and everything. So we've got all this carved now. Just didn't take long at all. Took about less than 1/4 of an hour. Much more to do the big deep carve in here sort of thing, but you know, just takes a bit of time really. And you know everything is right as long as your templates are right. So the next job now will be doing the neck pocket, but well, I say next job, I think I'm going to leave that until I've actually, you know, roughed out the neck sort of thing, made the neck, because I don't want to go cutting a neck pocket and it's too big sort of thing. So I'd rather hang fire on that a little bit. I mean, the trick you can do, you know, I've got the neck template here and again absolutely full size, so you know I can put that on the top, and you know I can cut the neck pocket, but what you can do is, if you put tape on the inside, a few layers of tape, you can make it obviously smaller, so that can be a trick. So I mean, I can basically finish the body, do all that, finish the body, and then go back and situate the neck pocket to the right width afterwards. But yeah, that's one thing I could do. I'll think about it tomorrow. I've had enough today. So but yeah, what a great, I mean, I rebuilt the templates yesterday, and now we've got a body, and it's going to be a good weight actually. It's going to be a nice weight. It's a lovely bit of mahogany again. So yeah, I mean, I'll be doing it a TV yellow sort of thing, but great stuff. Okay, speak to you later. Well, hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to 3R Guitars and this Les Paul 1959 Les Paul special build. Yesterday we got the pickup stuff done, and we got the control cavity done. Just a bit later I whizzed round this just to do the recess for the control cavity template, and just to say again, you know, I did restore a 59 special for somebody, so these templates are taken from that. Anyway, this is right. Hi there ladies and gentlemen. Now what I've done is I've got this template on the back, so I can do my usual thing of running it around the pin router, which you've all seen. But you can notice what I've done here. I've put some tape on the edge of the neck joint because I want to cut it a bit smaller, so you know I've got some room there to fettle the neck joint a little bit. So this is a template of basically a 55 Les Paul Junior fretboard. So this is not like a 59 because the Junior didn't have the binding on it, so it's actually wider. So you can see when you look in here, this won't quite, it's just a gnat's smaller then, well, actually the fretboard is out here, so by the time you get in here it's going to be even wider sort of thing. So that allows me, in all fairness, do I actually need the tape at all? You know, if I put the thickness, you know, if I can't fit that fretboard just fits in there sort of thing. But you've got to say that, like, the neck will get a bit, will it get a bit wider by then? I suppose it depends whether you cut it parallel or cut it. I think I probably will put the tape in, just because I don't quite know how it's going to work yet. But what I've got here is, I did these very detailed drawings, a bit like the 53 of a Les Paul Junior. This was a 1954 Les Paul Junior, and so I did a very accurate drawings of this. You can see the neck width there's 59.70, so I'll have a measure of that across here. Let's just do that now. 59.70. Let's see what I am here. Oh, what? I'm talking a lot of old shit there. 57.70 if I had my glasses on, that's what I'd have made it. So I've actually got 56.6 here, so I'm a millimetre small there anyway, so I'm going to leave that without tape on. Also, the interesting thing is the neck tenon. I mean, I'm assuming the Junior is the same as the Special, the same basic guitar, but with a couple of pickups. The neck depth was 29.5 millimeters for the neck socket sort of thing, 29.5. And when I actually measured the Special, I've actually got a note on here that the depth of the neck socket was 31 millimeters, and, well, you can say round that up to by 0.5, so it's 31 millimeters on the Special and 30 millimeters on the Junior, so there's a 1 millimeter discrepancy there, roughly. So I'm not really bothered. I mean, if I do this down to 30 millimeters, that'll be fine. So I drew the tenon on the top, as you saw, so I know it's in the center there. So now I can just go in and cut this. I mean, you know, with the inaccuracy of this you know, my homemade router here, you really must check these. You know, you really must check it. So there we go, I think we're right. So I'll switch you off and get this done, because, you know, you've seen me do this a load of times before. Right, here you go. Just to start, I've taken the first cut, the neck mortise, so I can see that's directly on the lines and everything's right. If you weren't sure, measure it. So I can just carry on going down. One thing I forgot to mention was that both on the Junior and the Special, the neck sockets were not sloped. You know, this tenon mortise, which one's which, routing here, I didn't have a sloped bottom to angle the neck. The neck slope was done on the neck, so just want to cut a flat thing so it's nice and simple to do. But I'll carry on now and we go from there. Cheers. Well, here's the neck mortise cut now. It's really nice. So the neck will fit snugly in there. Obviously the tongue of the neck, or the, you know, when I put the neck in, I'll have to reroute some of this pickup hole sort of thing, but yeah, that's just how it goes. So no problem there, all the usual stuff. So yeah, all good, and yeah, we'll get the template off the back and go from there.